All right, good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, January 30th, 2018, and welcome to Walking with God. I am your host, Kyle Walker, and you are joining me here in Kansas City through WYTV7. Hope everyone's having a great night. I can see that we've already got a few people into the Facebook Live tonight, which is super cool, all three of you. I didn't realize until just a little bit ago that I'm actually going against the President's State of the Union address. And so I think I might lose that by just a little in the ratings. I mean, just a hair. But I did get my my patriotic Royals hat, so go Prez. Hopefully things go all right in Washington tonight. As much fun as that place has been lately. But to the three of you who are joining me live on Facebook, and then anyone else who pops in and out, thank you for taking at least a couple minutes to check this out. And again, I realize I'm up against some stiff competition tonight. I don't know who's going to have the rebuttal speech, after my show is over. After the State of the Union, there's always the rebuttal speech. So I don't know if someone's going to have a rebuttal speech for this show tonight. I somehow doubt it. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. The phone line's open at 980-202-2915. And so just recapping real quick, if you weren't with us last week, we talked about losing faith, and we were going to kind of make this a little three-part series. Last week was losing your faith in God and the higher power, shall we say. And so this week is losing your faith in other people. And last week, the losing your faith in God thing, it wasn't a personal experience that I was able to speak from, because I spent a lot of time kind of not really as a non-believer, but as a non-practicing Christian. We'll put it that way. And so I never really lost it. And then when I came back to the church, it's not like I've lost it since. When I came back in 2012, here I am, clearly still here doing this show and all my church functions. So that didn't speak to me as much as this week. This week is losing your faith in other people. And that, I will admit, I am guilty of on a daily basis, because who can't just look around at the world here and just lose faith all the time in what's going on. So what I've got is I've just got some of the examples, some of the things that have kind of personally affected me. I hope any of these might speak to you. If you have any that you want to share, hit us in the chat window, or call in or send a message after the show, and we can address it next week. So again, these are just some of the things that spoke to me, but I know in this world there are so many examples of how people just constantly fail you, they fail their families, they fail themselves, they fail each other. We all do it. I do it, you do it. It's what we do. And so here's just a few of my thoughts about it. Now, I will say just right off the bat that there are times, today especially, that I can be a rather cynical person. I used to be a very optimistic person, but of course life can take that right out of you. I used to see the best in everyone, and I saw the world through these rose-colored glasses. And as you can see nowadays, these are crystal clear. There is no rose color. Boom, boom, ching. And so once the world started kind of firing back at me, that's when I lost a lot of my faith in people and situations, and whether that be through my divorce or the affair that led to my divorce, or the other guy that's now involved with my kids and that whole situation, financial crippling due to the divorce and everything that's come after it. I will admit, there are times I am quite the cynical person. And so, one of the things that often bothers me, and I get in trouble every time I bring this up. Now, please let me reiterate, I have 8 years of experience to call on. Not everything I talked about happened 5 minutes ago, but I always get in trouble when I mention this stuff. Over the last 8 years, one of the most challenging things I have found post-divorce has been the dating world. And you want to talk about losing your faith in people, and I've talked about this before, but adult dating will just chew you up and spit you out. And if you've had to go through this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, yes, there are positives, and there are lessons to be learned, and there are good things that happen. There are also 11 billion terrible things that happen to you during this process. And again, if you've gone through it, you know what I'm talking about. But it feels like, and in my case, this has been the case at times from the Department of Redundancy Department, but you're lied to constantly. All right, you're misled because you're taking two damaged people. Again, if you're in your mid to late 30s like I am, I know the damage that I've suffered, And then you take someone even with similar amounts of damage or more, and you try and bring these two damaged parties together, there are times that is just going to fail miserably. And so let's be honest, if you've been in the adult dating world more than 5 minutes, you've been lied to, you've been misled, you've been used, you've been abused, and you've been confused more times than you would like to mention. And probably more times than you even realize. And so, it's like the old expression, two wrongs don't make a right. Well, a broken piece, like myself, and another broken piece, two broken pieces put together don't make the whole. There are still cracks, and there are still things that need to be ironed out. And so if you are a broken person, okay, you're not going to get with somebody else who's also broken and just suddenly everything's great. You kind of have to heal yourself and mend yourself before you can get into that situation. But coming back to full circle, again, the adult dating world at its worst is a time where you will lose faith in humanity. I guarantee you that will be the case. And sometime later this year, I'll actually do a couple of shows on adult dating, and I can share some of my horror stories. You are more than welcome to share some of yours, because I know we all have them. I've heard them, and they're doozies. So that we're going to get to that. But again, one of the big ones for me, and where I lose faith with a lot of people, is the adult dating world, both through my experiences and then experiences shared with me by other people. It's nasty out there. And then I know tonight is the State of the Union, and you want to talk about something that'll make you lose faith in people, and I'm not taking a shot at the president, I'm taking a shot at Washington in general. I mean, our political system here in the United States is just horrible to watch. I lose faith in our politicians every day, a little more every day. So that's another one. But everything you see on the news, from shootings to terrorism to scandals to politics, and when you take a look at the world all around and the problems that we have, and you look at the people involved in these problems, how can you not lose faith in those people? How can you not lose faith in those around you? I certainly have. Guilty. Me, this guy right here. But more often than not, these daily occurrences just make you want to walk away more and more. And so, moving on, let's go right now, and I will attempt to maintain composure, but I will tell you that this has angered me. So this is my current events section of the show, but this is my poster boy for losing faith. Sorry, I'm getting a message making sure we're not having technical problems. No, we're good. State of the Union started, but 6 people are with me. You guys rock. But okay, so I'm sorry, the poster child of losing faith in people, and that is, if you've been watching the news, that Larry Nasser guy, the former doctor at Michigan State, the guy who was just convicted for over 150 counts of sexual abuse. All right, this guy was the doctor at Michigan State who worked with their gymnast in the gymnastics program, who, over the course of however many years it was, took these athletes, these young women, these college students, and did very unspeakable things to them. And so he was caught, and he's just been sentenced. The judge sentenced him 40 years to 175 years in prison. And I'll be real honest, when I first heard that sentence, I was actually mad. Like, that's not enough. For what this guy has done, 40 years is not enough. I want you to just give the sentence of, we're locking you up and we're throwing away the key, and you're never going to see the light of day again. Now, I understand in a courtroom they can't really go that route, but that's what I personally would have rooted for. But yeah, so he's going to jail for a very long time. But you want to talk about losing your faith in people and just wanting to walk away. I see a guy do something like this, and it angers me. And here's kind of my personal touch. So he's a prime example of how we lose our faith in people. But how do you trust people when you see something like this? This guy, what he did was he invaded my personal safe space. Okay, now I'm not claiming to be one of his victims. That's not at all the case, so please don't mishear me. But he did this under the realm of sports. Now, if you've known me for over 5 minutes, you know that sports is like my life. All right, I love sports. I've played every sport at some level. All right, I've played ice hockey. I've played baseball, basketball, football, soccer. I play fat guy slow pitch softball because it's about all my body can do anymore. I run. Sports has always been my haven, and when things went bad in my life, I went to sports. when things would go wrong for me as a kid, I would just grab my basketball, I'd walk down to the elementary school, and I would shoot for hours and hours at a time, day after day after day, especially on summer breaks, because that's really all I could do. So what this guy did was he took something that was very important to me in sports, and what would be, of course, important to these young women, sports, as they are high caliber athletes, and he took something as great as the sport world and turned it into his own personal, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I'm thinking of a few words, but I can't really say them on this show. So that is how, this really got my attention. He took something sacred. The bond between adult and kid, or let's put it this way, coach and student, coach and player, he took that and he destroyed it for over 150 people because of his actions. And again, he was a doctor, he was on the staff, he was going to, he was in charge of getting the athletes healthy and keeping them competition ready for whatever their competitions might have been. And he destroyed everything for over 150 people. And that's why this really resonates with me. I think back to myself, I've had some great coaches in my life. I've had some terrible coaches in my life, but I have never had a situation like that. And so for every woman, and I applaud every woman that stood up in that courtroom and testified against that scumbag who helped send him away for what I hope is the rest of his life. This guy is lucky that he will have to answer to Jesus and not me, because I'm not nearly as forgiving, because I am me. I'm not Jesus. So consider himself fortunate. So anyway, that is my overall overarching example of why I would just choose to walk away from people. Because when I read that story, I'm done. I'm done with all of this. When this guy is ruining my refuge of sports, not to mention what he's done to these other people, it's like, the heck with it all. Why do I even care anymore? But we're gonna get back to kind of why we care. But moving on, try and simmer myself down as we move on to other things. Due to this show, divorce is normally our main topic here, but divorce is certainly something that'll make you just want to give up on people. On the whole, nothing really want to make you give up than having the person that you married, the person who stood up in front of friends, family, and God and said they would love you until the day they died, and then all of a sudden they've changed their mind, or that situation didn't work out. If you've ever wanted to throw your hands up and just say, I'm done with everyone, if you're anything like me, it was that situation. Romantic relationships are another one. Nothing like trying to pick up your broken pieces, as we talked about, hand them to somebody else, and have them end up throwing your broken pieces on the floor, shattering them even further, because maybe you don't make enough money, or you don't look like you're straight out of a men's catalog, or you have kids, or my favorite is because of political affiliation. Yes, people have I've seen them reject other people simply due to political affiliation, but that's just my problem with politics in general. So that's a reason for someone to actually broom you. You could be too tall, too short, too skinny, too fat, and you didn't even get to meet. Adult dating has become basically a meat market, or romantic relationships in general. And so, and you're going back to the political stuff, how many of you have given up because of politics? How many have you have given up because, I just can't reason with that liberal nut job, or I can't stand that right-wing racist. We are tearing ourselves apart as a country, here in the United States, because we can't even tolerate the other side anymore. And so we're just giving up on everything and walking away. How many of you have walked away because of tragedy and said, what, the heck with everyone else, the heck with other people, because of the Las Vegas shooting, or because of all these school shootings, 11 of them so far in 2018 on some level, the last big one being in Kentucky. We've had church shootings, we've had terrorist bombings, we have all of these terrible things. And I see that my broadcast has been interrupted. Here's hoping it's only on my iPad. But am I missing anything else? Is there anything left that makes you just want to move to that cabin in the woods? Living up in some remote cabin in Montana, 100 miles away from your nearest neighbor. And trust me, I know that feeling, and I normally think about that on the daily. It's like, man, I would just love to move myself out of town and be away from everyone, because I feel like if I'm away from everyone, then they just can't take me off. And wouldn't that just be a sweet dream? And so, yeah, I mean, it's every day I have that. So it's hard for me to actually keep the faith in other people, that other people are actually out for good instead of just all this terribleness that I see. And so all I can offer you to help solve this problem is the way that I view this situation, okay? And maybe we're getting down to a little bit of, what can we do about this? What we have to remember, and again, I said this last week, this is all my opinion. This does not reflect the opinion of anyone else. This is just what I think. Agree, disagree. Let's talk about it. I'm good with that. But we have to remember all this bad stuff happens to us, is that I've always thought it's because, we were given free will. Okay, God gave us free will. And so that's how a lot of this stuff happens, because we are free to make terrible mistakes. I make terrible mistakes every day. We're given the right to choose. And sometimes we do not make the right choice. We don't make the right decision. We don't make the holy decisions. I can guarantee you we don't always do that, because I mess that one up every day. We don't even make good decisions. So we're imperfect creatures doing the best that we can, and some folks aren't even trying their best. True? And sometimes that's us. Okay, so people think we should be living like in this utopian society, this great society where everything is perfect and nothing bad ever happens. And I love it when they blame God when something isn't perfect. And they want, well, if there was really a God, then there wouldn't be this. There wouldn't be that. There wouldn't be the other. In a perfect world, that would be the case. All right, we would never have a tragedy. We would never have an unplanned death. Nothing ever would go wrong. But God gave us free will, and we botched that up. We botched the perfect world real quick. When Adam and Eve kind of came out of the gate making bad decisions on our behalf. So we are the ones who kind of brought this sin into the world. And so, speaking of Adam and Eve, also keep in mind, my good friends, that there are always forces working against us. Okay? The devil is real. You can read the Bible and find out that is true. He is real and he is active. He is in your life on the daily, just like he is in mine. He's in my life on the daily. Okay, he's looking to attack you at any moment, especially when you're at your weakest. All right, and I'll give you an example of that right now. Here's example from the life of Kyle. There is, and I'm being honest here, there is a time after every show, whether it be the next day or 2 days after, where I second guess myself. Okay, that's true. I think about the show that I just did, and I think, man, that was garbage. I really suck at this. I'm not helping anyone. I'm never going to have this career in broadcasting that I'd really like to have, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm telling you, this happens to me every week, and you can set your clock by it almost. And so last week, I'm having that moment. I remember it. I was sitting at work. I was having that moment, and I was like, man, yesterday stunk. Nobody's going to like it. I'm never going to get viewers. What am I doing? Maybe I'd be better served if I didn't try and help people in this manner. Maybe there's other things I could be doing, because maybe the show doesn't help anyone. And so there I was, just feeling like a failure, and I was caught in the crosshairs of the enemy. Some call him the devil, some call him the enemy, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him. He found me, and man, he hit me right where it hurt. Okay, so I'm actively having the conversation with myself last week, and I get a Facebook Instant Messenger from someone. Okay, it just pops up on my screen as I'm sitting there feeling miserable about myself, and I'm gonna give you a little summary of what it said. I basically got called 3 names by this person who decided to reach out last week. I got called a poser, I got called a sham, and I got called a fraud for what I'm trying to do right here on this show. Okay, and the timing really could not have been worse, because I already felt terrible thinking that I ruined everyone else's Tuesday night by coming on here on Facebook Live in front of 8 people, and I sucked. And so, yeah, I got called these 3 things in my moment of weakness. And so now my mind is just spinning. I mean, it's going a mile a minute. I'm angry. I'm hurt that this person said that. It's like what we were talking about. I just wanted to be done with everything. I didn't want to deal with people. I didn't want to deal with trying to help. I didn't want to try and deal with doing this show. I just wanted to walk away. Really, I just wanted to go home and sit by myself away from everyone else. And so, I took a few moments. I took a few moments to kind of simmer myself down, which sometimes that goes quicker than others. And I really wanted to think, okay, so am I a fraud? Mm-hmm. Am I a poser? Am I a sham? No. Nope, and nope. I sorry, but I could not actually agree with those statements. Am I doing the best that I can with this show? Yes. Okay, am I trying to do the right thing with this show? Yes. Okay, is my heart in the right place for this show? Well, I think it is. And if I'm ever wrong, I hope somebody will tell me. And I've said that from the beginning. I've told you all before that if this show ever appears like it's becoming more about more about Kyle Walker and less about you guys and talking Jesus, talking divorce, talking ways to help. If it ever becomes more about me than it does about that, then I want someone to tell me and I'll stop. I'll turn this webcam off, I will unplug the microphone, and I won't return to the air if it's ever going to appear like I'm just trying to be self-serving up here. Because my heart is behind giving everyone, well, like I've told you before, my heart is behind trying to help other people avoid the mistakes I've made. And this is my outlet to do it, or at least that's what I think. Okay, so if I'm ever wrong, then I want you guys to tell me, and I'll stop. I am an imperfect person, okay, and I fall short of the grace of God daily. I know I've said that on previous shows, probably numerous times. Okay, but that doesn't make me a fraud. And I don't go to church because church is a museum for all the perfect Christians out there. I go to church because it is, as it's being called, the hospital where people go to make themselves better, where they go to get healed, and where they go to learn about Jesus and what he can do for all of us. And I need that refresher every week, probably need it every day. And so, sorry, as my notes are falling over here, like I said, I need Jesus every day, all day, every day, until the day that I check out of planet Earth. Okay, so that doesn't make me a fraud. I'm not a sham because I'm not perfect, and I'm not going to give up on anyone because now I suddenly feel unworthy. All right, I was given this opportunity to speak to people and hopefully positively affect their lives. That's my goal. So I'm going to take this chance until it's not mine to take anymore. All right, I'd like to think that I'm going to do something right because the devil sure put nasty words in someone's mouth to dissuade me from what I'm trying to do. And so I think that stuff was said to try and slow me down because things are happening for this show. All right, and it's not because of me, it's because of you, it's because of us, it's because of what we are doing together that things are getting better. And I've gotten the words from people who've said that this have helped. Okay, just, even if it's just, they relate to it. Like, oh man, he went through that, I went through that too. Man, that stinks. Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one. And if it's that simple, then go team go, rah, rah, rah. But until this is no longer helpful to anyone and the live views are zero and no one ever watches and no one ever gives feedback, then hey, this really helped me, I'm just going to keep on doing this, and I hope that we together are really building something special here. I think we are. I know the good folks at WYTV7 are super excited about this show and all the other shows on that station and what's in store for all of us here in 2018. There's good things happening, and there's really cool people coming on board to talk about their experiences and share this. I'm a no experience basketball broadcaster. They've got some super awesome people coming on who are going to be greatly beneficial to you and to people through all walks of life. I'm covering one little corner when I do the divorce stuff. Okay, but there's people who are going to talk about marriage stuff, and there's financial stuff, and there's health stuff, and there's even a comedy show which is hysterical. So, despite what was put in front of me that just made me want to give up, made me want to give up on everyone, I took that moment to really kind of compose myself and to refocus up. And I realized that the things that were said were just trying to slow me down, trying to slow all of us down from what we're doing here and what we're building. So that's going to happen to you. There's going to be times where you want to give up on people because of something that was said to you, or something that was said about you, or something that was said around you that you're just going to internalize. You're going to take it wrong, and you're going to think that, oh man, well this is where I'm supposed to stop. This is where I'm supposed to quit. And I just want to caution you that every minute of every day we are under attack by the forces that want us to not do things right, that don't want us to follow Jesus' teachings, don't want us to read the Bible, don't want us to even be good to each other. And those are the forces that we really need to look out for. Oh man, time's ticking. So, all right, let me keep on going here. I'll quit rambling. We give up on people just because we can't face the difficulties that they bring to our lives. It's one of the reasons we give up on people. And so tell me that doesn't sound like the devil at work. But here is where we're going to turn the corner. All right, let's look at Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. says, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Hebrews 13, verse 16. And do not forget to do good and to share with others, for with such sacrifices God is pleased. And then John 15, verse 12, my command is this, love each other as I have loved you. So we are commanded not to give up on each other. Okay, we're commanded to love each other, and that's what we're going to do. So I understand any of these circumstances that I gave you throughout the course of these last 26 minutes. Yes, they're awful and they make you want to walk away. I get it, because I've done it. I've been there all the time. But we are commanded. My command is this, love each other as I have loved you. We are commanded to love each other. I am commanded to love that person who sent me those hateful words, okay, who was trying to stop me from what I'm doing. And so I will, because I'm commanded to. And, maybe that person was just having a really, really bad day. If we go back to our episodes on forgiveness, we can be mad at someone, but remember this, what does God think about them? He still loves them. He still loves me. So I can't sit here and hate on a person that God loves. That doesn't seem quite right. That seems like an error. So keep that in mind. We're commanded to love each other. We're not to walk away from each other in times of difficulty. And yes, we can lose faith in others. And I do it all the time. And so we have to remember, though, that there are other forces at work. And God has won the battle for our eternal souls. That's not even in question. So if we accept Christ as our Savior, that does not stop the enemy, though, from coming after us full throttle. Because he does. All right? He will in your weakest moments, when you think that you are just done with the world, he will hit you hard. And that's when he'll hit you the hardest. He'll make you feel worse about it. He'll make you feel angry about it, more jaded. He'll make you suffer until not only have you given up on everyone else, but you've given up on yourself. And so that's where we're going to kick off next week. Like I said, this is going to be a 3-parter. I intended for this all to happen in 1 week, but it was just too much. So next week, we covered giving up on God. This is giving up on others. So next week is giving up on yourself. And again, that's another one that I can speak to from personal experience, because I have absolutely been guilty of that myself. So that's next week. We're going to kick the week off with that. And yeah, so I'm hoping when he doesn't know this yet, but I'm hoping when Joe comes on February 20th, maybe he can give us just a quick 3 minutes about this 3-part series. I'd love to hear what somebody else thinks, and please share with me as much as you feel you'd like to, because I'd like to know what everyone thinks about this. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I close? Not even close? Let me know what you think. So that's it. It's 8:29. Like, our time is up. That went super fast. So let's close it out in prayer. And Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for everyone who tuned in, despite the other goings on of the evening. Lord, be with everyone this week. Just give them that bit of grace that we all need to deal with people when we don't agree, or they make us angry, or we just want to quit everyone else. And we know that it is your commandment that we love everyone, not give up on them. So please keep that in the forefront of our minds and our hearts this week. Keep everyone safe and bring everyone back next week. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So there we go. Time. That was fast. Everyone, be safe this week. Have a good one. We will see you next week. And this is, giving up on yourself. And I promise we're gonna finish it off positively. And then we'll just keep trucking right on into the rest of February. So have a good night. This has been Walking with God. I am Kyle Walker, WYTV7 out of Kansas City. Good night, everybody.